Um, I am the youngest of three until I was about 10 or 11. My mother was a single mom. I had an older brother and an older sister. And then she married to my dad, or not biological, but he's my dad. Well, he's deceased now. But anyway, and I grew up in San Antonio, attended school. Most of my educational time was in San Antonio. Graduated high school, came back to Austin, married, raised 4 children, worked for the state of Texas for 20 plus years, retired in 2014, after which time my mom became ill, so I went back to San Antonio to care for my mother. Before I actually went back to San Antonio, I had started the Austin Community College here in the field of paralegal studies. I've always been interested in law. So, however, that changed when my son decided that he would get married. Within a 3-week time period, we had a wedding and a reception that I organized that event. I mean, I had, it was fun. It was my son, and it had to be just what I needed for it to look like, and it happened in literally 3 weeks. And so then I changed my major to event planning and special meetings. I do like organizing parties, baby showers, just anything, because I like detail. And I did graduate. I received an associate's in hotel management, which was a gateway to event planning in the hotel industry. However, once I graduated, then I decided, I have all these credits. What's next? So then I went back to school the Monday after graduation and started taking classes for Associate of Arts. And now my concentration is sociology. So that's how I made it here.
You said that you planned your son's wedding within 3 weeks. So would you say at that time is where you started to find your purpose and what you valued a little bit more and what you wanted to move into, starting from there?
That I would say it was an eye-opener, like, yeah, I could do this. And then as I started speaking to some advisors at school, and, they'll tell you, I wasn't very interested in how much money I could make, because at this point in my life, I wanted to do something that I wanted to do. My first career was something that happened. It was an opportunity that led to a career. And within that career, it was not necessary that you have all the alphabet behind your name to be successful in that career. And I was. So this was something I was like, I like to do that, I like to see, the people's faces when they walk in and they go, oh my God, you did, So, because I like to make people happy within reason. But yeah, so that was pretty much what kind of changed my focus.
You say you enjoy making people happy.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like your enjoyment of making people happy, and as you were walking through life, did you encounter any racial discrimination walking through life, being who you are, who God created you to be, and wanting people to enjoy life? Did you get any resentment?
It probably wasn't until in my later mature years that I even recognized it as a racial issue. In my school, in my early years of school, in junior high and high school, the schools I attended were very diverse. So race, it wasn't an issue for me, and if it was, I didn't recognize it, because I'm just who I am. And I could walk up to you in a grocery store and we could start having a conversation as if I've known you all of my life. Or, I mean, regardless as to anyone's characteristics, you know, race, color, height, weight, any of that. It just didn't matter because I'm just that girl. I like to talk to people, and people are pretty receptive. And sometimes people would just walk up to me and start, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, you know. So I would talk to them. So it wasn't an issue for me. And it wasn't until, and it still took a while, but it wasn't until later. I didn't say this before, but in my years of employment, I worked for the state of Texas. I worked for the Texas Commission on Human Rights. That wasn't my first state employment, but other jobs led me to there. And that agency, in its existence, were responsible for investigating housing and employment discrimination complaints. So I found that to be the most amazing thing because you never know how people feel. You never know what people believe is happening to them until you hear it. And whether at that point it is or it isn't, we were charged with trying to figure it out. And as time went on, the agency was abolished. The function was put under TWC, Texas Workforce Commission, and things changed because now we're part of a larger agency, whereas before there was only like 44 to 50 employees in the whole agency. Anyway, time went on, you know, investigating complaints, you know, people are changing. We went through a lot. But anyway, it wasn't until I became a supervisor.
And this is with the state of Texas?
It's still with the state of Texas Workforce Commission. The Civil Rights Division, that's where I worked. And it wasn't my peers who were no longer my peers, so now I'm supervising them. And that wasn't where the problem was. The problem was in upper management. We investigate, okay, so in an employment complaint, you know, we get the evidence, we interview the people, we, you know, have a findings, then we have a determination. Well, if the determination is probable cause that discrimination occurred, we have to have, you know, a meeting with the attorneys, with the board and all these people to say either yes or no. This one case that I remember very clearly was I had made the recommendation that yes, there was a discriminatory act that occurred. The complainant was a black female. I'm a black female. But the person who had to make the final decision was a white male. And as we sat at this table, well, let me back up just a tad bit. Prior to that, it was well known in the division, most people that worked in that division were college graduates, not Cynthia. So technically, there were some people who didn't believe that I was qualified to do this job. I'm like, but I'm doing the same thing you're doing, so what's the problem? Well, anyway, so this particular white male, as we're sitting, I have to present the case, tell them why I believe it, explain, analyze the evidence and say this is it, this is what it shows. We have prima facie elements. If the answer is no to one of those, then there's probable cause that discrimination occurred. This man, let me just calm down. Because at every turn, no matter what the evidence clearly showed, employers can do what they want to do. Yes, they can, but they can't do it to this black female and not do it to their white male counterparts. Some of their infractions were far worse than what they said they fired her for, and the evidence showed. You know, there was some white male, this was the sheriff's department, that committed criminal offenses, went to jail, you know, had court, I mean, just, they were criminals. It was almost like an organized crime, pretty much. that were suspended, not fired. They were suspended and allowed to come back to work and then were promoted. This lady was fired because she took a woman's purse off the door handle. She had left it in the visiting room. And she took it and put it in a safe place. And they said she shouldn't have touched it. That's why they fired her. So she filed based on race. So anyway, this guy, I mean, he's at every turn, every time I gave a piece of evidence, he'd have, well, first of all, you're supposed to be neutral. You're not even supposed to make an excuse or give the respondent a defense, because we got their evidence. We asked, they gave it to me. I'm looking at it. But now you're defending them when you're supposed to be a neutral party. And then I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. You know, is it because I'm black? Or is it because she's black? Or is it because we're black? You know, and so the attorney, our attorney, agency attorney, because I mean, I think they could hear in my voice, because I was trying to remain civil. And at one point, I just look, wait a minute, hold on, just 1 minute. And she kind of just, because I was getting ready to just take him there, because I can't believe that you're sitting up here doing this, and we're supposed to be eradicating this, and you're defending their actions when they didn't do the same thing to the white men. And so I'm like, okay, I'm done. I mean, of course, I didn't want to like leave my job, but that's when it kind of first hit me that, yeah, this stuff really does still happen, you know? And so time went on, he left. We did charge the case. The lady took the case to court, and I don't know what happened in the outcome, but we did our part, which made me feel really good. The next time that occurred was, now we've changed. We've gone to a whole nother place.
So in that incident with your upper management, being a white male, and you were working as a black female, so you were in management as well, but he was just in a higher position of management.
Yes.
As you were.
Yes.
So you felt like that you were being discriminated against because you were black and black female, and did not have a degree.
Correct.
So do you believe in his eyes that he felt like that you should have not been there? Or you felt like, was he intimidated by your knowledge?
All of that.
Okay.
All of that.
So do you think it kind of went out to so he was upset at you being in that position, so you feel like that he overflowed from to other blacks, or he was just already against blacks already?
I believe that he didn't believe that discrimination occurred. He didn't believe in discrimination. So, and then the fact that I was a black female, who had not attended college or received a degree, a black female who, all of those things, not educated, and was in a managerial position, was just too much for him to bear. And so how dare she come in here and try to tell us, this panel, that discrimination occurred. Who does she think she is? That's how I felt. And after a while, I started to experience that, or feel that way rather, by some of the other employees. And not only other employees, and they were black. So, and that's when I determined and I discovered that racism occurs, or the idea of it, even within the same race, within the same group or the same class of people, you know. And far be it from me, you know, because my thing is be who you are, do what you do it well. And that's how I saw myself. And I believed that I had to work extra, and I had to know things extra in addition to, because of all those other strikes, if you will. Okay, this lady. One of this guy told me, he said, black guy, you should go to school and at least get an associate's degree. And I said, well, why? I mean, what is that gonna do? Well, you know, you're a black female and you're in this. And what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I said, because if you just think about it, I supervise you. You have a master's degree. And what? But the fact that he identified the fact that I'm a black female and I needed this piece of paper to say what, that I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that I have an associate's degree and I'm on a second one headed to a bachelor's. I love that. But I did it on my time and when I wanted to do it, and not because I'm a black female. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. But then, yeah, I mean, but that was his way of thinking. And then not only did he think that way, but then there was another woman. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with you guys? You should be just happy for me and support me because I am a black female in this position. In my position, I was in a position that I could help you, if need be, to move up this ladder, you know, provided that there was space up there, you know, yeah. But no, you all wanted to tear me down. And not only did you want to tear me down, you didn't want to do what you needed to do for yourself. But yeah, so I saw that. And so then I even had a conversation with, could they be, you know, prejudiced against me, or could they be discriminated? Well, yeah, because see, you'd run and do with this other white supervisor with no pushback, no anything. But when it came to me, and that was the only thing I could think of, because it was clear that my knowledge, experience, and expertise in that subject matter was what helped me to get to where I was. So my race and my sex and all that other stuff had nothing to do with it. So I always had to, in other words, fight a little harder until I guess one day the light bulb went off and went, oh, okay, I guess she does, you know. But those kind of, you know, it just amazes me that people can't give you credit, or people won't, or they want to discount and discredit and take away from you because you're different than they are, that you look different, that you think differently. You know, just be who you are. You know, have some integrity and some dignity and respect. And we should all just be okay. But the world don't rock like that. And I don't understand it, but anyway.
So going forward with that, after you start experiencing that, how did that change your appearance or experiences for people just around you in general and the people that you meet now in life?
It did make me be more observant in the way I was being treated by others. Because before, you know, if I went into a restaurant and, you know, Mary might come to the table and Mary may not have introduced herself. Mary may not have been as pleasant as I thought she should have been. I would just chalk it up to the fact that Mary was just having a bad day. I didn't have anything to do with that, you know. But then when you look across the restaurant and you see Mary chatting it up and kiki and ha-haing with Jane, who doesn't look like Cynthia, then you're thinking, okay, they're cousins or they're friends. But no, maybe not. But at the same time, even if you still didn't treat me in the same manner, maybe she's just impolite. You know, I would come up with these reasons, and my kids always say I'm friendly because I want to see good in people. You know, somebody, and I would, well, maybe, you know, because you don't want to believe that in this day and time that you're being treated that way because you look like this. And I'm just saying as far as my race. Not just cute though, but I'm just saying, no, let me stop, I'm sorry. But yeah, and you know.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, with you pursuing your sociology degree, how would you move forward with yourself as being an advocate and pursuing justice, or making having blacks, females especially, more aware of their surroundings, as who they are as a person. If you were to speak to a room of black women today, what would you advise them to tell them about who they are and how to handle things going forward in life?
I would definitely tell them to continue to strive to be who they are in the best way they can be who they are. Because we as black women, some of us, are seen as angry black women. And I'm sorry, I forgot this tape was on. But the thing is that we're not angry. Some of us are just tired. We're just tired. And we get frustrated because we are put in, this category of, without people having walked a day, a mile, a minute in our shoes. And I'm not saying that my struggle is any worse than your struggle or anybody else's struggle, but just treat me as the human that I am. Treat me as you would want to be treated. See, we forget about that golden rule. It doesn't say, what is it, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, unless your race is this or unless your sex is this. It doesn't say that. But that's what happens. So I would just tell them, and I would say to them the same thing. You treat people the way you want to be treated, and I would say most of the times people would have to stop, or they should, or I would think they would stop and look at themselves and go, well, she's not treating me badly. She's not, and I'm different from her. So why am I, maybe they'll stop and think, well, why am I treating her that way? Simply because she looks different. I was at the store, and I was sharing this with one of the other students, and I'm making a purchase. There was 2 Hispanic ladies in front of me, 2 at the register and 1 in front of me. The cashier, she was Hispanic, and she was telling the other 2 ladies about these discounts, and if you do this, it's 30% off. If you fill out this, it's 15% more off on top of that, and so forth and so on. And I'm listening. There's a Hispanic lady behind me. We're listening because it's like, oh, yeah, because, I like this outfit, and you know how we are. The next lady in front of me, she goes up. Cashier's telling her the same thing. I mean, she's just, the spiel is on. Cynthia walks up to the counter. She doesn't acknowledge me. No hello, no how you doing, did you find what you needed, what you was looking for, none of that. So I'm just standing there with, my items in my hand. I'm waiting because you're just not gonna do this to me. And so she's like, are you ready to make your purchase? Well, can you tell me about the discounts and the coupons that you just clearly in front of me told these other ladies? And she said, oh, well, that's just if you fill out but that's not what you just said. You had a whole lot, you had about 3 minutes worth of information to give to these ladies. So I can't get the same kind of discount. So the lady behind me, she said, yeah, you just told those other ladies this, a Hispanic lady. Oh, well, I'm sorry, I did. Lady, here, I'm gonna put this on this countertop because see, now you playing me stupid, you playing with my intelligence and you pissing me off. Because, I mean, that kind of stuff, when I don't understand certain things, I get pissed off because it makes no sense. Things that are illogical to me and you can't explain to me to help me understand, I get pissed off. And I'd rather walk away than to sit there and stoop to your level. Or, because, I can use some choice words, but who wants to do that? I'm trying to expand my vocabulary, ain't I? But yeah, but and probably had not the other lady spoke up, she probably wouldn't have gone into all of that information. And as I was leaving, because I left the items there, I did not. And as I was leaving, there was this gentleman walking. He appeared to be someone of importance. He had on his suit and his tie and his little name tag. How are you today? Did you get what you was looking for? No. Well, what happened? So I explained it. Well, where is she? Over here, you know. You know, I don't want the lady to get fired or nothing, but I need for her to understand that you just can't do that to people. And so the guy, he walked back over there and he was asking her these questions and, yeah, go ahead now. Tell him that didn't apply to him, to me. Tell him why. Well, he ended up, you know, do you still want the items? And I can offer you this, and then I'll give you a little bit more because you was inconvenienced. Well, yeah, okay, go ahead. Now, see, now let me stop. But I mean, I'm just saying,
Right.
you
So
know, that
feel like if we speak up more.
if we speak up,
Because so many of us have been conditioned to be
not to say
silent
anything.
about things. So you feel that if we speak up more, that changes can be better or changes can be made.
That can be
or
made.
it could start the process.
It can
if we
start.
speak up.
Because see, I would venture to say that now, I would hope that regardless as to what that customer looks like, that she will share all the information, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, just again, treat me the way I treat you. And when I, you know, cash register, I'm like, hey, how you doing, girl? You know, that's just me. Sometimes I can be really silly, you know, because I like to have fun, I like to laugh. But don't just do me. Just
So
come
in
on.
that process, you felt like change was made at that moment?
I would hope so.
When you expressed your voice.
Yes, I would hope so. I would hope that she, because if I was the cashier, I would have been embarrassed to have my manager to come up and ask me these questions in front of this customer about why a certain thing didn't happen, which is a store-wide event. Why this one? And I even said, well, there was, you know, this other Hispanic lady, and it was two. You know, I gave him the rundown, so I'm pretty sure he figured out where I was going with that without me having to say, I think she did it because I was black. Because I don't like to pull the race card, but sometimes if you can't see any other reason for that type of behavior, well, it must be. Or it's like, well, because I'm cute. And, you know. No, let me stop saying that. But yeah, I do. I go to that sometimes, you know.
So
But
how would you relate your faith to that experience or any other racial experience?
my faith, oh, because you know, I have this faith. What is the size of a mustard seed? And that's not it's not very. That mustard seed is real tiny. But that's all I need is just that little bit. And because I am on a new journey, you know, with my faith, with my relationship with God, and because I've just always been kind of that nice girl, you know, and that just have helped me to elevate my kindness, my niceness, my forgiveness just a little bit more. So probably had that experience happened 20 years ago, I probably would have told the story verbally, and then depending on how angry, you know, we tear up stuff. And, you know, oh, I'm sorry, I was mad, I didn't mean to. But yeah, but probably that long ago, I probably would have talked very badly to her, you know, just, you know, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary.
Thank you, Ms. Washington, for your story.
You're so
Is there
welcome.
anything else you would like to